Hey everyone, this is Ryan B with Practical Forex Trading. This is your weekly analysis for the dollar yen. The date is March 15th, 2020. So US dollar versus Japanese yen. And let's go ahead and talk about trends, pivot points, etc. If you want to stay up to date with all of our videos, make sure you click that red subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner of your screen. Okay, so I'm looking at the weekly chart for the dollar yen. I like to look at the big term charts. So when we think about sentiment and the weekly pivot points, really we're going to look at the big long-term trends, and then we'll look at the shorter intraday trends, because sometimes those can vary. But my overall sentiment is bullish, and really based on this big trend line. Price has been sitting above the 104 yen mark for a while, and then we see last week's price action really prove that. Price stabbing below that all the way down to almost about 106, and then the body of the candle closing above the 104 line, proving support once again. So 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, which is very, very bullish. Now we do see in the short term this 20-week moving average price just came up and touched it. So we could see a little bit of a recoil, right? Because whenever price comes and approaches this average, whatever side it's on, let me see price typically move the other way. So for example, let's go back and look at this same chart, same indicator. When price closes above the moving average, it would then move away, right? Close, then move away. Now here, in the reverse scenario, price would move below it, so we come up to it and then slowly move away. So now we see price coming up to it again. So just remember, even though long-term bullish, this multi-year trend is going up, if you will, bullish, that we could see some short-term resistance, if you will, retraction from this moving average. So something to be aware of. Let's go ahead and look at the daily and apply our pivot points. Okay, so some huge daily candles, bullish once again. Price going up and tapping this fast 20-day moving average. So that reinforces the case that in the short term, this week, we might see some retraction down to the 104.3. So possible retracement ahead. And that's really been the scenario for most commodities and pairs this week. After super volatile weeks last week, we might see some short-term stabilization retracement before things continue on. So let's go ahead and apply our pivot points for the yen. So R1's at 110.60. Right here. That's resistance 1. That makes sense. That's really that price channel. We can see that price channel going back into late 2018. Let's go ahead and put that up. R1. There. Okay. Next, we've got 113.22. So that would be a real big bullish spike if price came up there. Okay. So let's go ahead and now. So R3 is 120.54, but first you'd have to see some big moves just beyond 110 and 113 before I'd be looking into R3. So basically, if R1 gets broken, then after consolidation, if it holds above, then next you should look for price to move to R2, etc. down the line. All right, 105.89 is our pivot point. So price moving above here, so price could just come all the way back down to the pivot point, still be very bullish, but then would honor this consolidation from the moving average. So let's pivot. So I'd say I think that's a very likely scenario this week that price was the pivot point. 103.28 for S1. So here we go. Right about there. So we see then that that big line we pulled over from the weekly, that was kind of that guesstimation of the zone, and that we think about our first support. So it creates a nice support and resistance zone that kind of helps emphasize that bullish characteristic. S1. And let's go ahead and put S2, 98.57. So it's all the way down here. It's off the charts. So for the sake of this discussion, let's go ahead and stick here. So really, I'm going to put my stops either below S1, I'm going to put my stops below 101. So let's go ahead and put that. Stops below S1 or 101. That's kind of the bigger, longer play. But those kind of positions you can't expect to close out during the week. So that's our last low at 101.1. Let's go ahead and draw a parallel trend channel for our intraday action. So if we call this our big trend, we're going to go with this as our parallel. We can see the buy is both these candles close below it, and we're going to use this as this ascending triangle. Price needs to continue above this line, which means it can definitely consolidate intraday for the next few days all the way back down to the pivot point, still be quite on trend. We want to look though for the pivot to hold. If price goes too far below the pivot, it might reinforce the bearish case. So I really want to see price hang above 105.85 with plenty of support here at 103.27, 104.32. So a very bullish scenario, but this week look for some consolidation. Okay, I hope you have a very profitable week. Make many pips. We will talk soon.